Hey boys, welcome back to some more Nrl Supercoach. It's going to be the round 20 preview. So we are done with the three major buys, but this is the final difficult week after, and probably arguably more difficult just because there's so many uncertainties about this week. Obviously, there's three teams on the bye, but then you factor in Origin backups, which it creates a pretty tough week, all things considered. So first and foremost, I'm going to just select my team, which I think I've already done, have I? Yeah, I've already done the team as it stands now. So we've got Damien Cook out, Joe Tarpany out, Corey Horsburgh out, Cody Walker, Alex Johnston, Jared Croker, and Ty Munro. So we've got a few out for sure, but you know, that's where the depth comes in. The centre wing, we're running strongly at the moment. I mean, the four starters we got now, I think Holmes and Garrick. Well, actually, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. I was going to go through each position and talk about what we need to look at upgrading. So I'm not gonna get into the center wing. We'll go through them. Before I forget to do it at the end of the video, let's talk about vice captaincy's captaincy. So, what are the matchups? So, Newcastle Tigers, Kalen Ponga owners, and I might be a Kalen Ponga owner at the end of this video. Kalen Ponga is just such a clear-cut vice captaincy. I think this week you could go a pottish play as on like a Greg Marju, because you know he can go over for 3 tries. Kalen Ponga could still get 80, but you know, Marju could go 150 with 3 tries. So you could go a pot of Marju, but I think Ponga's form has been great. I mean, the Tigers do have Abby Coruscant back. They still have a really strong forward pack. I mean, you got Johnny Bateman, Isaiah Papali'i, and then, you know, the young star in Pole locking the scrum. That's a very good back row. David Clemmer, Utikamanu. I mean, it's a good forward pack, and then you throw in Appy Coruscant back this week. So I wouldn't be expecting Newcastle to put 60 on the Tigers. Just put it that way. I mean, maybe I don't know. Maybe the Tigers are done, but you look at their team and it's like out wide, I think is their issue, which I guess that's why Marju was such a good play, but through the middle and even on the edges to an extent, they should be okay. I think the biggest issue now is, their center and their half, you know, a couple of young guys, and also Will Smith, who is, Will Smith, he honestly does a pretty good job when he comes in, but he's a stopgap for sure, not the best defensively. And then Brendan Wakeham also, again, he does a pretty damn good job being thrown into the furnace, but again, one of his weaker attributes is his defense. So on the edges, Newcastle boys could have a bit of a field day potentially. Bulldogs, Broncos, no real ones there. I mean, the Broncos, obviously Reece Walsh is out. There's no one else in the Bronx. I mean, I guess if you had a Cobbo, you could chuck a vice captaincy on, but there's I don't know, Broncos, they don't really have any genuine Supercoach studs, I guess. You know, obviously Carrigan and Haas are fantastic. They're guns, but there's no, I don't know, their outside backs aren't really massive ceiling guys for whatever reason. I mean, Katoni Staggs didn't have great games. Herbie Farnworth is very solid, but they're not like other teams where a guy will get like 150 on the wing. I mean, Cobbo probably is the exception, but Cowboys, Manly. I mean, if you have Drinkwater, obviously, even a Val Holmes vice captaincy isn't shabby. Sydney Roosters, Storm. Honestly, that game's tough. Are the Roosters finally going to hit a bit of form? Maybe. Who knows? Warriors, Sharks. I mean, come on. Nico Hines, captaincy. I think that's just the way to go, right? Nico Hines, captaincy later in the round, Sunday afternoon. the Warriors, obviously, they've hit a bit of a wall, I would say, but still a very good team. I still think defensively they're not the best. I mean, this game could be like 34-30 to the Sharks or the Warriors. So I would expect a high-scoring game in this one for both sides. So I think Nico Hines, very good shout. Penrith Dolphins. So the big one here, fucking Nathan Cleary. Is he going to play? So if Cleary is set to come back, I'm pretty sure I'm going to get him straight in. Obviously, there's always a talk about a hamstring can reoccur, but let's be real, he's not going to play if he's not 100% fit. And if you're not going to get him this week and you're going to wait a week, like, why? He could do it next week. Like, obviously, if you can't afford to get him this week, I mean, fair enough, he's got a high break even. He probably will lose a little bit of cash, but he could go massive as well. That's the issue. I probably wouldn't have the guts to captain him, considering we got Hines the game before. So it's like, is it really worth the risk going Cleary over Hines? Probably not. But yeah, you could. Yeah, if you're gonna bring Cleary in, if he does come into that starting side. If you had the guts to captain him, it could be a massive swing for you, for sure. It could be a big pod play. And then Parramatta v Gold Coast. I mean, obviously a Moses, Fafita, any of the high ceiling guys. But I think for me, it's going to be Hines. And like I said, spoiler, I am going to bring in Kalen Ponga this week. So Cody Walker is the guy that's going to go for me. So Ponga is going to be my vice captain. But there's definitely some options this week. That is for sure. So let's go through. We'll go through position by position and talk about what we're looking at doing in the future for trades, I guess. So dummy halves is fine. Yeah, I'm just going to run with Grant and Cook. I mean, if one of them gets injured, they're an easy downgrade. We can probably just, honestly, if one of them gets injured, we're probably just going to nuff one out. We'll nuff one out and run the other one, because I don't think you need two dummy halves for the end of the season. I think there's better upside plays in many other positions than dummy half. So I'm happy to have Grant and Cook, but when I've got a full strength 17, am I going to be playing Harry Grant and Damien Cook in my 17? I don't know. Probably not. But depending on matchups, I guess, with Cook. So I'm happy with it. But at the end of the day, if I had to nuff out a Cook to a cheapie, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Obviously, you don't want Grant then to go down as well. But yeah, I don't think you need two dummy halves this year. But if you've got, I don't know, fuck. There's a couple. I mean, if you still got Reed Marnie, I would just hold him. He went okay last week. God, the dummy halves, Marshall King is injured. He's in and out. If you have Cody Nikorima, you're probably laughing because he's still playing fullback. So he's probably the best of the bunch, honestly. But I'm not going to trade for Nikorima. Front row forward, honestly, it's fine. Ideally, yes, Tino and Payne Haas would be luxury trade-ins. Honestly, I know a lot of people are going to jump on Tino, but for the price difference, it's almost 200k difference. I would go Payne Haas if I'm being honest. Obviously, he's got to come back from injury, but I'd probably be looking more at Payne Haas. I just think he's way more value than Big Tino. Tino, who scored so many tries, and he fucking last game he played, I think it was last game he played, he was scoring pretty well, obviously, but he got a fucking jaggy try at the end of the game to bump his score up. He's not going to keep scoring tries. He might. I mean, I guess that's the thing with forwards. They get on a run, and it does seem to happen all year. So, Tino, he probably will be the top front rower this year, I would expect, but for a lot cheaper, I do think Payne Haas is just better value, but I'm not in any rush to trade really any of these guys. I mean, Solomona, he's playing in the back row again this week, which is lovely. If he can score well again the next couple of weeks, yeah, I mean, I'd probably look at a fairly sideways trade. Solomona off to Payne Haas. I'd probably do if there weren't other issues with the team. It is it's a luxury trade that I wouldn't need to make, but if I've got trades up the sleeve still, if there's no injuries, there's no suspensions for key players, then I'd definitely look at getting Solomona off to Payne Haas for the run home. I do think Payne Haas is better than, well, I mean, Harris and Tarpany, they're very good as well. So I don't know. It's much of muchness, if I'm being honest. Back row. So Dave Fafita is the clear-cut trade-in guy. The thing about it, so I obviously said I'm bringing in Kalen Ponga this week. Now, if that's what I am doing, which I do think I am, because I just think Ponga, his form, and it's not so much about, like, I don't think Ponga's going to get another 170 for the rest of the year, if I'm being genuine. I don't think he will, but there's so many people in, like, the top 1k to 10k probably now that own Ponga. If I don't own him and he goes massive, like, it's just such a huge drop off for me. And he's a good vice captain every week with the goal kicking. It's just such a, it'll be a real point of difference if I don't own Ponga. He's a guy that I don't think I can go without now. But like I said, if I bring in Ponga, it either means I can't bring in Nathan Cleary or David Fafita. Now, and both of those guys are very fucking, I don't know. So Cleary, he's not named to start. He's on the extended bench, which it would lead me to believe he would come into play. Otherwise, why would you even name him on the bench, or the extended bench? He's playing the Dolphins, who, they've sort of fallen off. David Fafita is going to be coming off Origin, but they play on Sunday, literally the last game of the round. So he is named, but he could easily drop back to the bench and play fewer minutes. He's got the issue with Fafita is that he's got a low break even. It's like 40, which if he plays decent minutes, he's going to go well past 40, and his price is going to increase potentially a lot. So there's conundrums all over the place. And honestly, as I'm talking at it now, I do think Fafita is probably more important, just because I know Cleary's got like a 130 break even. He's not really going to go up in price. He might lose cash. But then the other factor with Cleary is that Sean Johnson, I think Johnson has like a 100 plus break even. So Sean Johnson could lose a heap of cash this week as well, which would make it harder to get Cleary in. So there's all sorts of fucking headaches with the trades. I gotta be honest, if I had a boost, bro, a boost would be lovely right now. I'm not gonna lie. But back row, going back to the back row, Fafita is a clear cut guy to bring in. The rest of them, honestly, there's a couple of pottish guys. I mean, let's have a quick look at back row. Front row and dummy half, pretty boring. Back row though, there's definitely a couple of pods that I wouldn't mind looking at. So, I mean, yeah, Tino's 840. Jacob Preston's down to 550. Obviously not bringing him in. Who have we got? So, did a lot of people bring Hudson Young in last week? He's been okay. I mean, so Cameron Murray, he's under 500k, bro. I don't know. Again, it depends on trades, because you don't want to just waste a trade trading out like a pretty decent gun to Cameron Murray, who has been, I mean, he's averaging 58. Like, he's averaging 58 and he's under 500k. Like, he's definitely, I don't know, I guess the scores have just been a bit low the last couple of weeks, I would say. Yeah, he only played 31 minutes for 28, 56, and then 86 there. I mean, he's been pretty subpar. I don't know, I don't know. Would you even bother getting in Murray? I guess it depends. It depends how the other players are going. But 480k, man, after Origin, it's going to be hard not to downgrade one of these guys and get in Cameron Murray, who is like a genuine gun for such a cheap price. But it depends. It depends how he's actually going. Because, yeah, I mean, even at the start of the year, like, he was playing decent minutes and just not really doing what he did best last couple of years. But we'll see. Cameron Murray's obviously on the watch list. I mean, Kalamatangi also, maybe. He's at a pretty good price as well now. Could be a decent run home guy. Who else is there? There's another guy that I'm keen. I mean, Ryan Madison is now 550k. Now, obviously, he's named on the bench this week, which is not bad because he probably still plays big. Like, he's done this so many times. He'll go off the bench. He'll come on in like the 20-odd minute and then play the rest of the game. And his base stats are so damn good that he'll score 70s. But I don't know, just with the Eels have so many forwards now. Like, their bench is Offengowie, Madison, Davey, and who was the other one? Was it Ogden? Was it another middle forward? I think it was. So, and then you've got Polo, Campbell Gillard that play big minutes. Cartwright, Lane is back starting, and Hopgood. Like, there's just so many big minute players. I don't know how it's going to split around. So, Madison, again, I just don't see the real upside in going Madison this time of the year. Like, the base stats are great, but he's probably not going to be pushing out hundreds, really. So, I think the price is great, but I just don't think it's really worth getting on Madison now. If you've got him now, like, it's fine. I wouldn't be trading him out because I think he'll go back to pretty sizable minutes through the middle and slash on the edge. But yeah, I wouldn't be looking to get him in. Nanai was the other guy I was looking at. He's actually 600k. I thought he was actually a little bit cheaper than that, but he has looked really good. He's looked really good. Yeah, he was cheap. He's gone up fucking 80 odd K, which is fair. 82, 84, 106. And I mean, obviously, Neno has always been a guy that's that upside type of back rower. He does genuinely need attacking stats, but he does find them. But it's a small sample size, but honestly, his game back from suspension and then Origin and a couple of games outside of that, he's looked really busy. Like, he's actually got involved a lot more than he usually would. So I was really, really tempted by Nanai as well after Origin finishes. He'll probably, the 3 big scores, he's probably going to get a little bit too expensive pretty soon. But yeah, you could go worse, that's for sure. And then the other guy that I was wanting to look at, he's so far down. He's barely played a fucking game, bro. Fucking Sean Blaw's at 500k. Big minutes. Fucking Barnett got 120 on the weekend. Where the hell is he? Sean Lane. So Sean Lane is at 535k. He's back starting on an edge. Sean Lane is that one guy that he's going to get 80 minutes on the edge. Brad Arthur just loves playing him for the full 80, which is fair enough. Like, he's a weapon. Obviously, he's been out with injury numerous times, and the scores have dictated that. He's had a couple of games shortened coming back from injury, so he's at a really good price, and he is a guy that can go big. Like, has he played any 80-minute games? He's played a few, so, and they haven't been great. He got 36 against the Tigers. He played 70 here, 51, 65. He started to hit a bit of form here, 65, 63, pretty solid. And then 44, then he got the injury around 11, played 29 minutes, came back, 44 minutes, scored a try, 64. So, I mean, I wouldn't be jumping on straight away, but I think Sean Lane is also a guy to potentially get on. Because I've got a couple of guys. If we go back to my team, looking at it, Horsburgh and Nickera are definitely staying. Johnny Bateman is a guy that, I don't know, I mean, he's averaging a tick over 60. He's gone back to the edge, which I like. I don't know. Am I going to trade out Bateman? Maybe, maybe not. I'm not too sure. Because the Tigers don't have a terrible run home now. Like, we've got a couple of low scores from him, but he's been really good lately for us. He's got Newcastle Dragons, Rabbits, Canberra, Warriors, Dolphins, and they don't have a bye. 2021, 22. Yeah, no more buys for the Tigers. So I don't know. Bateman could be a keep, and then Cartwright is a sell, and Hopgood probably is a sell as well. That's the thing. Ideally, if I'm being honest, ideally I'd probably have Hopgood gone for Fafita and Cartwright for Sean Lane. I know it seems crazy. I talked about this last video that it seems crazy trading out Hopgood for the second time, because we obviously had him from the start, traded him out, traded him back in over the buys, and then trading him out again. But I mean, I just talked about the Eels forwards, like their middle forwards and the amount of big minutes from those players. I think Hopgood's still going to be really solid, but I can see him going back to like mid 50s to 60 if he doesn't get like a try assist, which he can do for sure. He can still get a try assist. He's got that ball playing. He's got the offloading ability. He's got the tackle busting ability. But I just see the minutes going back to like 50, 55, which is good. If he was a front row forward, I'd be like, yeah, just plug him in there. Really solid player. But in back row, I'm like, I think Sean Lane probably has better upside now. And then Fafita clearly is a better option as well. And it's like, he's 740k compared to Bateman, who's 587, and Cartwright's 575. So for quite a bit more money, we can definitely get in Fafita rather than trading up Bateman to Fafita. So that's where I'm sort of heading, because I think on any given day, Bateman can probably score similar to Hopgood. He can score lower for sure, but I think they can be pretty on par if Bateman keeps playing 80 minutes on the edge. And then Cartwright, like I said, he does have to go as well. If I knew Cartwright was going to play 80 minutes on the edge, I'd be like, he's a keeper till the end with Moses back in the team and Gutherson back in. But the problem is that Davies on the bench, Madison's on the bench, so there's every fucking chance that Davey comes on to replace Cartwright, or even Madison comes on through the middle and then he goes to the edge. I guess that's a little bit of worry. Maybe Sean Lane misses minutes as well, but I'm pretty confident that Brad Arthur is going to fuck over Cartwright and drop his minutes off. So I do think Cartwright's got to go. I don't mind holding him this week just again to see the minutes, because it's happened like 4 or 5 times. Like Cartwright, everybody's sort of been on deck, and then I'm like, okay, Cartwright's going to have one more game in him, and then I've got to get rid of him because he's going to lose minutes. And then all of a sudden, fucking injury, suspensions, and he's back to 80 minutes. So I don't know. I'll give him another week, maybe. We'll see what the trades look like, and then see how we go. But I do think Cartwright, his time probably has come to an end. He's been fucking fantastic for me though. Piakora, he's just going to plug along. Hopefully just get a couple of nice attacking stats in the next couple of weeks to really get a bit of cash, and then he might be a guy we just nuff out. We might nuff him out, get a couple of 100k and use the money elsewhere. But yeah, again, if we don't have the trades to do that sort of stuff, holding Piakora, if he goes back to the bench, nah. I mean, I said this when I brought him in. He is a guy that we're bringing him in knowing we're going to have to trade him out, and I do still stand by that, because when Capel and, Ricky's a long-term injury, so I don't know. We'll see when Ricky even comes back to the fray. I mean, Piakora might get near to the end of the season. So, you might not have to actually trade out Piacora, but if you can, if you got the trade spare to nuff him out, make some bank and get some pods in, I don't mind it at all. Nico Hines and obviously Cleary is the guy to bring in for Johnson. If I had, in the scenario where a lot of people have Moses, I probably wouldn't be trading out Moses for Cleary, especially this week. You could do it going forward for sure, and you probably should. But this week, the Eels have the Titans for one. He is going to come off Origin, so you'd have to be a little bit wary in case he gets a knock or something. But Moses, I just think, has the higher upside than a Johnson. So he's similar. He's on par to a Cleary in terms of upside. Obviously, he does also have a low score in him. But yeah, if I had Moses, I wouldn't even really be thinking about trading him out this week. But Johnson, I am. I know Johnson has been killing it, but I just think Moses and Cleary, Cleary is the number one, Moses is 2, a fair bit behind, but pretty close, and then Johnson is number 3 on the pecking order, and then Hines is, he's probably number 1, but him and Cleary, obviously. 5'8", so we still have Manu here. Yeah, ideally, I guess we'd want Manu in the center wing, and I guess... ideally, we'd probably want Cody Walker and Kalen Ponga, but I do think trading Cody Walker is the right decision because he's got to buy this week. He's got to buy in round 26. Yeah, 26. Now, he does have a good run. He does. Even the Broncos game, I can see them scoring some points. Like Broncos, Tigers, Sharks, Dragons, Newcastle. It's a pretty fucking good run. I'm not going to lie. But I think Ponga is better than Walker with the goal kicking. And their draw is really good. And just for money purposes, if Croker was 600, 700k, fucking absolutely. I would swing Manu down and trade Croker out for Kalen Ponga and keep Cody Walker. But if we want to bring in Fafita and Cleary as well as Ponga, we're probably going to have to trade out Cody Walker and not do a Johnston Croker trade out. That's just the way it is. You can't get everyone, unfortunately. Centre wing. So, Val Holmes, Ruben Garrick are definite keepers till the end. Talakai and Mulatalo, I think, are keepers till the end. And it's just a matter of... I think Talakai is probably a guy you play every week, unless they take on Penrith. The Sharks have a fucking good run. So, you probably play him every week, because they've got the Warriors, Manly, Penrith, you probably don't play him. But you could. He still has the base stats. You still could play him a solid 40-50. Rabbits, Gold Coast, Newcastle, Cowboys, Newcastle, Canberra. It's not as good as I thought, but it's still pretty good. And then Ronnie, you probably play more on matchups, I would say, as maybe that 5th guy. Alex Johnston, I think I'm just going to keep Johnston. He's lost a lot of cash now. I don't think he's really worth trading up. I think Johnston is worth having in the team for the run. Because if I'm getting rid of Cody Walker, I'm keeping Cook probably. So if I'm getting rid of Walker, I do need some Rabbitohs edge, right? I would love Mitchell as well. We'll talk about fullbacks in a second. But Johnston against... teams are going to score well. And, I just went through the draw. It's a good draw. You're probably going to play Johnston for all of these games. Maybe not Broncos, but, again, I still think they could score some points against the Bronx. So, other than the bye, the Rabbits draw is really good. So, I think I'm just going to hold Johnston and play him. He can go ton. Very, very easily. Score plenty of tries. Jared Croker does have to go. He's a interesting one. I am glad he actually is on the bye because, he can't lose more cash. I'm not too sure. We'll have a look at centre wings in a second. Ty Munro, he's just going to keep, he's a cheapie, but again, he's part of that Rabbitohs team and the good matchups, he's I mean, in the past, like, you wouldn't play like a right winger for the Rabbits, but they've been going right a lot more, and the Rabbitohs wingers, they just score tries. Like, and he's a quality player. So, I mean, Munro could just slot into the 17 very easily on matchups as well, and could go big. So, him and Johnston. Honestly, Munro is looking better than Johnston, but we'll see. We'll see with Mitchell and Walker coming back. They might go left a little bit more often, but the right side is still very dangerous with Campbell Graham, who doesn't generally like to pass, but he does get the odd pass away. So we'll see. And then the fullbacks, Gutherson. I honestly at this point, I don't know. I might just keep Gutherson till the end of the season, depending. I don't know. It's a tricky one. Jareem Buller. Buller is a tricky one because his break even is like 140 this week, so he's gonna lose more cash. He's gonna lose so much more cash. There is a guy that I am somewhat keen on, but I'd probably have to do it this week, which is dangerous, because if I did it this week, I wouldn't have Cleary or Fafita, which, you know, if things go right, I mean, maybe if Fafita cops a bit of a knock and is ruled out for the backup game, but he's fine for the rest of the season, so we don't need to bring him in. And then Cleary, I can fade Cleary this week, so then we could trade out Buller instead. I wouldn't hate. But before we do anything, let's just trade out Cody Walker for Ponga. So Ponga, I think, is a little bit more expensive. Pretty similar prices, I think. Yeah, I tick more expensive, so that's fine. 30k off the kitty, so still 314 in the bank. That's yeah, that's fine, I think. I'm just doing the maths. I think it's okay. I think this is the trade I'm making, and yeah, I'm going back to it. I think I still think Hopgood is the guy we trade out for Fafita. I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, the 740k compared to 580, it just makes a bit more sense. It just leaves us a little bit more wriggle room. So fullbacks. Let's centre wing first. Let's look at some centre wing, because there's definitely some good options. There's definitely some good options that we can't really jump on, but man, I'd like to. So Jermaine Asako, I really wanted him, but obviously with Valence Tavade there, he wasn't getting really any good ball. He still scored 56. He got a try. He got a fucking field goal, a few goals. He's 660k. He's a good price. Tavade has been dropped. Fido is named with who's the other center? Fucking Aiken. So Azarko probably comes back into calculations again, but we can't get him this week, that's for sure. It'd be nice if he dropped a little bit more cash. Who else? There's definitely some goal. I mean, Chansey, I was talking about this before, but Chansey, the Warriors draw after their bye. So they have a bye in round 22. Sharks, Raiders, they're both not bad matchups anyway, but round 22 bye, then they have the Titans, Tigers, Manly, Dragons, Dolphins. Oh man, Chansey I definitely want to try and bring in, and he definitely should lose more cash. He's got like 150 break even this week, so he'll drop cash for sure. Nick Meaney at 560k now. He's still got the goal kicking for the Storm. He's a real luxury trade, but man, he'd be nice to bring in, I gotta be honest. Greg Marju as well. Man, I love Marju. I do think he is definitely a top 4 centre wing. Can't do it this week, but I would love to. I would definitely love to do it. Definitely love to do it. I mean, Brian Toto back from, the run home, if you could do it, would be good. Who else have we got? We got a few others. Isaac Tungo. I would like Tungo, but yeah, I don't think we can go Tungo. Honestly, I just don't think I don't think it's on the cards for us. I think there's better options. I think Marju's better than Tungo. I think Azarko's arguably better than Tungo as well for basically the same price now. Because the thing is, when Penrith get all their players back, like, they don't, like, Tungo can still score well, but he doesn't get all the footy, you know. They spread it around really well, the Penrith side. It comes through a lot of Cleary. Like, he hits the edges a lot. Sorensen, Hosking, or Martin, who's ever on the edge. The wingers, I mean, To'o, Crichton, and then the other side of Tungo and Taruva. So, yeah, Tungo, he can have those big games, but he can also have those 30-40s. So I wouldn't be, yeah. I'd love to get him in, but I just don't think it's on the cards now. Who else have we got here? Fucking Lockie Miller's just gone, isn't he? he was a bit of a revelation to start the year, but he's just gone, man. I don't know. I feel like another club should try to. I don't know. He's a fullback that's a strange one, right? He's really good, but I don't know. Is he just not quite at that level to really warrant being a starting fullback at a lot of clubs? Because fullback's just such an important position, and he's good, but yeah, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but yeah, Miller's unlucky. I mean, it's just what it is. I mean, Ponga's obviously a better fullback, and he deserves a spot. Joseph Sewell, again, I'm going back to Sewell. I know I talked about him a couple weeks ago. I gotta be honest, I'm very fucking tempted to bring him in this week. He's got like an 11 break even. He does have the Storm, but the Storm defensively have been pretty fucking shocking. He's gone back to the wing. The problem is we don't know if he's going to goal kick. We don't know if he's going to goal kick, but man, back to the wing, dude. They got Melbourne, Gold Coast, Broncos, Manly, Dolphins, Parramatta, Tigers, Rabbits. It'd be this is the pod play that I'm like, man, he's $390K. I could downgrade a Croker to Suaalii, free up a bit, free up $100K in the kitty there. He could be a good pod. But I don't know. Do you really risk it? Is it really worth the risk? And it's not so much a risk in terms of his price. Like, it's fine. Like, if he only gets like 40s, 50s, it's fine. But is it worth the risk of wasting a trade? I guess is the thing. Because if I want Suaalii, I definitely want Chansey. But if I want Chansey, I definitely need cash. So it's a tricky one. So he's probably the only other guy I was really sort of tempted by, and I still I gotta be honest, I'm very tempted to do it. The other guy that I'm not gonna lie, I'm very much considering it this week is fucking Dylan Edwards as my second fullback. So obviously we got Gutherson. We cannot afford Drinkwater. Drinkwater is fucking gone. There is no shot. We got Garrick, Will Kennedy, 51. Walsh ain't there. Fucking look at the top fullbacks, dude. There's none of the guns that we used to see. There's fucking Azarko, Gutherson, Drinkwater, Edwards, Garrick, Kennedy, Walsh, Clockstad, Nick Meaney. Latrell Mitchell is still in the top 10. And then Tommy Chaboyevich is number 11. Fucking Tedesco's 12. I mean, Latrell. So that's I'm like, it's tricky. Because the problem, if I don't trade Buller this week, he could bang out 100. He could. Like, he's still looking good. That's the thing. He could get 100, but he's still going to lose cash. And then it's like so difficult to actually trade him to anyone of note. On the other hand, Dylan Edwards, he's probably got a pretty low break even, because how has he gone lately? He got 39 against Melbourne, but before that, I mean, he's been really solid this year, and he's shown a couple of games he's got that really high ceiling in him. He probably doesn't. I don't know. Is it worth going? Actually, you know what? Instead of doing that, we could actually trade our Buller to just Shark. Yeah, Ruben Garrick at fullback. We trade Buller out for Joseph Suaalii. Oh, people are gonna hate this one. I don't know. I've just got a feeling about Suaalii. I feel like the Roosters, they gotta hit their strap soon, you know? This not only frees up cash and a bit more trading at Buller, it gets rid of Buller. Like, I still didn't hate keeping Buller. And the biggest issue with this now is that I can't trade out. I can't get in for feeder. That's the biggest one. I mean, Cleary, yes, I was very keen on getting Cleary straight away. But yes. There's just so much. Like, that's the thing. If I don't do this trade, I've got to wait, like, late in the week to actually work out who's playing and who's not. So it's a tricky one. This gives me 460k, so even if Johnson loses cash, if Cleary makes cash, we could definitely still afford it. We can still trade our Hopgood for feeder next week. Fafita probably will make some cash as well, but Hopgood hopefully will make maybe some cash, maybe. Do you do that? That's risky. That's very risky. I mean, the Ponga one is definite. I don't... I don't know. Do you do this? Is this really what we're going to do? I don't hate it. I don't know, man. I honestly, I don't know. So next week, if we do this, next week, it will definitely be Fafita and Cleary are the two trades. We'll have 5 trades left. 5 trades and... So what's Fafita? Fafita is... Well, so Cleary is 850, right? 850k, Johnson's 750. They both got very high break-evens. Let's just say they both go similar. So let's say 100k Johnson up to Cleary. So we'll have 367k in the bank. Fafita is... What is Fafita? Fafita is 830. And he's got a pretty low break-even. He's got like a 40 break-even. So, I don't know. Let's just say 850k for Fafita. That's probably a little bit underselling it, but we'll just say that. So Hopgood, we'll just say 150k from Hopgood to Fafita. So we'll still have 200k in the bank, which is very nice. That's the thing. I don't mind that, because then I've got 200k to actually do some pod moves if we need it. We can easily then get... Well, we can't easily, but we could potentially get in Latrell Mitchell. We could easily get Mitchell for Gutherson, but we could potentially get Mitchell in for... I mean, not Croker, not quite. 5 trades. I don't hate it. I definitely might reverse that one and just go the save play, get in for feeder for Hopgood. But again, we can wait. We can wait on that. We can definitely wait on that until at least after Origin to see how we shape up, how Fafita backs up. If Cleary we know more of. I would like to know if Suaalii is goal kicking still. That would be nice, because I do genuinely think he is a super pod for the run home, going back to the wing. I could be mistaken. He could be shocking. He could get 40s, 30, 40s. But I don't know. I just have that feeling about Suoli'i for the back end. And then, the rest of the team is strong. But yeah, we definitely... Again, depending the minutes on Fafita as well. If he only plays 40 to 50 minutes, yeah, I probably will reverse it and just go the safe route of Fafita. And then at the end of the day, Buller, we just keep Buller, hoping Buller goes good. And he could. I mean, Buller, that's the thing. Buller's got a couple of really good matchups in the next 2 weeks. He could get 100 this week. He'll have a low break even. He could go decent again next week, start making a bit of cash, and then we could trade him off for someone else. But that is, it is what it is. And also Dylan Edwards. I sort of went off Dylan Edwards, but I still think Dylan Edwards is not a bad pickup, but I sort of went off him a little bit. I don't know. The scores, he has had a couple of big ones, but I don't know. He's just never really done it in Supercoach. And do you really want to waste a trade on getting in Edwards? Maybe not, but yeah, I've got some decisions to make. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the action. But we got to do some. We're coming 500, which is good. But if we want to get into top 100, we gotta make some plays. But not owning Fafita or Cleary this week will be a nervous week if we don't end up doing it. So yeah, we will see. And also, I guess owning Cartwright still is a bit of a pain in the ass, but it is what it is. I mean, you could go Piacora over Cartwright this week, maybe. But it's against the Titans. If you just score a try, it'd be nice. But yeah, that'll do it for this video. I'll have to decide what I'm doing with that final trade. The Ponga trade is a lock in. I would like to keep Walker, but just the money situation, I just think it's better to do it this way, and then we decide if we're going to go this silly route of bringing Suoli'i, or if we just go the sensible route of bringing in Fafita. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you in the next one.